You guys, Aaron here. Time to talk about some exciting news for mobile gamers, and it's that a major AAA game is being ported over to mobile devices. And I'm talking about they're actually taking the actual PC and console game and bringing it to mobile devices. It's not like a developer is like creating a mobile version of a AAA game, like you see with like COD Mobile, Apex Legends, or even Diablo Immortal. But the straight up full fledged game is coming to mobile devices. And the game I'm talking about is No Man's Sky. Now, recently during Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference 2022, they talked about bringing No Man's Sky to Mac later this year. Now, the one thing they didn't mention was that they were actually bringing it to iPad as well. So, in an actual press release they put on their website, we got more details about this. And they actually say, and I don't know why they didn't mention this in the conference itself, it seems kind of weird, but they specifically mentioned in the press release that the game is actually coming to both Mac and iPad later this year. Even though in the actual keynote they just talked about Mac for some reason, they didn't mention iPad, but it will be coming to both Mac and iPad. Now, there is bad news with this. And the bad news is that this will probably be available for only iPads that have the M1 chip, which is only currently the most recent iPad Pros and the iPad Air, which sucks because a majority of mobile gamers won't have these devices. So this basically just means like Android is completely taken out of this, and then basically majority of iOS gamers also, because like I said, it's only the most recent iPads that have come out, the iPad Pros and the iPad Air. So it sucks, but obviously the reason for this is because they need the M1 chip for the game to actually run properly. One interesting thing they talked about during the keynote is that because now that the Macs and iPads share the same chip, which is the M1 chip, I think Macs have obviously higher end versions now with the M1 Ultra and the M2, but because they all use the same chip now, it is easier for developers to actually make a game for Mac and be able to scale it down and port it down to iPad and even iPhone, which I'm pretty sure most likely the next iPhone will have the M1 chip in it, I would assume. So that means we could be seeing more AAA games being brought to Mac, iPad, and iPhone. Another game they announced during the keynote is Resident Evil Village, that would be coming out to Mac. No mention of iPad in any press release or even during the keynote, but it is a possibility that eventually we could see Resident Evil Village on iPad as well, which would be pretty cool. So I do see a lot more AAA games coming to iPad and even iPhone. But again, the bad news is that it'll only be available for devices with the M1 chip in it or better. So again, if you are on Android or you are using an older iOS device, it sucks. We won't be able to play these games. But if you do have one of the latest iPad Pros or the iPad Air that has the M1 chip in it, you could be seeing more AAA games come, which is pretty cool for an iPad to be able to play a full-fledged AAA game like this. Again, No Man's Sky is slated to come out later this year for both Mac and iPad. And if developers do start making more games for Mac, there's really no reason that they don't port it down to iPad, because now, like Apple has said, they've made it easier for games to be ported down to iPad and even iPhone eventually when the iPhone gets the M1 chip. So pretty exciting times for mobile gamers. Again, there's kind of leaves Android out, but obviously Android devices are getting more and more powerful each year as well. So eventually these games will probably come to Android, but it's just whether or not the developers are going to take the time to actually port the game over. We'll have to wait and see though. But very exciting times. Let me know what you guys in the comments below. If you do have an iPad Pro or the iPad Air that has the M1 chip in it, will you guys be playing No Man's Sky? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.